Indices pull back to their 50, 100, and 200 days. Love those algos. The scramble is on. You are listening to the Arbitrage Trade Weekend News. I'm your host, Darin Harper, bringing you 3 things you need to know for this weekend and an interview, which is trust but verify. Also, check out the winner and loser this week in the market. The 10-year runs way down to below 3.8%, and the 10-2 split is down to the mid-17s. WTI crude dips way down to under $74. Here's 3 things. Unemployment has now risen to 4.3% as job growth totals were much less than expected at only 114,000. The estimate was 185,000. As usual, the number for June was revised. Healthcare was on the top again, with construction and government near the top as well. Hourly earnings fell below forecast. The CEO of Chevron said the company is leaving California for Texas because California's policies are discouraging investment and hurting customers. The company has been in the state for over 140 years. Houston, Texas will be the new headquarters home. Here are the bigs for next week. Monday is Canada's civic holiday, which means the markets are closed there, and it's also Blogger Day. The reports are S&P Global Services PMI, ISM non-manufacturing PMI and prices, and some jawboning from the Fed's daily. Tuesday is Cycle to Work Day. Good luck with that. Australia's interest rate decision is also on tap. Wednesday is Professional Engineers Day, U.S. crude oil inventories, 10-year note auction. Thursday, it's International Cat Day, initial jobless claims as well, and the 30-year bond auction. Friday, it's International Day of the World's Indigenous People, and it's German CPI. Trade while you're sleeping across time zones with Arbitrage Trade Assist. Sign up today at arbitragetrade.com. Arbitrage Trade is your trusted source for business, finance, and tech info.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, Caroline.
Hello, Darin.
What's going on? You got all these Olympics that you've been talking to us about.
Oh, yes, and I've been watching them too.
You're full of it, full of French.
Oui, oui.
Yeah, oui, oui. There you go. This blog, though, a little break, talking a little bit about AI, which is also, you just can't get enough of that. It's in the news every single day, especially in business news.
Yes. Well, and kind of like French, it's like its own language.
That's true. That is true. And we're still trying to decide what kind of language that is, whether it's good or bad, right?
Yes.
So your blog was trust but verify. So we're talking about people or talking about AI?
Everything.
Okay. I was going to say, yeah, because that's pretty much for everything, especially nowadays. But so kind of what I took from it is that research can be risky.
Yes.
Sound like a national campaign. Research could be risky. But it speeds up time. It's efficient.
It can.
Can be, but then, yeah, if you have to double-check everything, that might make it twice as long. I don't know.
Yeah. So this idea for this post actually came from personal experience. If you remember from a few weeks ago, I wrote and we talked about summer reading books.
Yes.
So rather than, when I was preparing that post, rather than let me check Amazon, let me check New York Times, let me check Reader's Digest, instead of me going to all those sites, I was like, I'll ask ChatGPT, it'll generate a list, then I can look for some reviews or other stuff to kind of help me out. You're laughing because you probably
already
remember.
know the story. Yes, go ahead.
So it generates this list. You know, I asked it, what are the top 5 bestsellers of the summer, something to that effect. And it gave me a list of 5 books, told me the author, gave me a synopsis.
Awesome.
I know, right? And there were 2 of them. I was like, these sound great. I'm going to go add them on my books I want to read list.
There you go.
So I typed in the first book and the author, and I can't find it anywhere.
Poof.
It didn't exist.
It's hard to be a bestseller if it doesn't exist.
I tried the second book, and it also did not exist. None of the 5 books that ChatGPT gave me existed. It completely made up, and the authors don't even exist. It completely made up a book and an author and gave me a synopsis of these best-selling books of summer of 2024.
So just created out of thin air.
Just out of thin air. And I was like, I thought that it kind of scoured the internet and, compiled these things. That was my understanding, but that's not.
It had to have gotten it from somewhere.
Well, so the way AI works, at least as of 2023, the typical model is not trying to assess if the information it provides is correct. It's trying to guess the next best word to answer your question. Which is kind of interesting.
Or the next best list?
Or list, or yes, whatever the case might be. So it can do what it did to me, completely make up false information. It can omit things. It can mix some truth with fiction. Yeah, it completely made up that list. So I then went and did what I was going to do in the beginning, and I looked up several different lists and compiled my own.
2 hours later.
Right.
Well, that's funny because, I mean, it sources from somewhere. So if I wanted to be a bad element, not that there's any in the world right now that want to sway people to different things.
Yes.
But I could just create a whole server of stuff that is absolutely incorrect.
To try to make the AI model
To make the AI come find it, yeah. And whatever you have to do to attract it. Like we use keywords to try to get our stuff out there.
Right.
And with the hashtags. So, I mean, I could just create a whole bad server out there and be a really bad supervillain for AI.
Well, there was a computer science professor from Princeton, and he was teaching his class.
Yep.
And AI came up and whatnot. So this, again, computer science professor asked ChatGPT questions that he put on his freshman student's final exam. And it gave back stuff that sounded great if you read it, but it was actually wrong. And so he said, quote, and this is something to be careful of, quote, "The danger is that you can't tell when it's wrong unless you already know the answer."
Yeah, and then if we get rid of books,
right?
What are you going to source? It makes me question everything in my life because you depend on what you read.
Right.
And then if you have to verify it with something else that you read, that may not be right either. So I'm just going to stop believing anything.
Well, when I was in school, it was always a big deal. Where did you get this? What was your source?
Right.
What was your source? So there are certain sources you can trust. So
maybe okay.
Well, more so than others.
Right.
And something else with the AI, so not only do we have to verify with what we know to be good sources to make sure that the information it gave is correct, we also have to know how to ask it things in a good way.
Right. I know you've been learning about that because you've been working on it here at Arbitrage.
Yes, trying to get it to generate some images specifically.
Had some frustrations because you just didn't speak the language right, and then you learned how to speak it right, and then you got what you wanted. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's kind of like when we first had to learn how to Google things back in the day. So you kind of have to learn, and something else that these AI models will do, if you ask a question with an assumption in it, it will take that to be true. It won't fact check your question. So an example I gave in the blog.
Is that gaslighting by AI?
Oh, I so felt gaslit by. Oh man, there were times. Whew, man. And we'll talk about that after
I
this.
see it in your face right now. You're upset. Do you need a minute?
Yes, okay. I had a little trauma from it. But University of Maryland did some research on AI. And they prompted ChatGPT to write a 5-paragraph essay on the role of elephants in University of Maryland sports cultures. Be sure to include only factual information and provide a list of sources at the end. Okay, so that's what they asked it. So the assumption in that question is that elephants are a part of University of Maryland sport culture. We know, it's not.
Not the terrapins, but
the
elephants.
So
Alabama.
just to see what ChatGPT would give. It gave this whole thing about elephant-related traditions. It claimed that elephants helped build the railroads during the Civil War. It talked about how the football players did the elephant walk when they were coming out of the locker room to get to the field. I mean, it went on and on and on. And it also, remember, the question asked to provide factual information and give sources to cite your claims. ChatGPT generated a list of non-existent news articles and fake website links.
Wow.
So you can't just say, oh, it gave me 3 links at the bottom. It must be true. You have to check those as well.
So if you go, it reminds me of the bubbles you go into. If you want to hear what you want to hear, you'll go into the people that will spit it back to you.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like that. It's like a Reddit bubble that someone will go into.
Yes.
And truthful or not, it's basically going to agree with you.
Right. So thinking
but Elon talked about that, about the dangers of AI. I mean, there's several leaders and that were worried about it. And I think this is just maybe just a little piece of it.
Right. And, the more people use it and don't realize that you have to verify, then the more misinformation and disinformation will get out there. And so you really do have to, put on here's the teacher and me coming out, put on that critical thinking hat, think about everything. Does this make sense? Does this go with what I know? And not just, who is giving me this information, in this case, AI, ChatGPT, but who can confirm this information? What is a source? Who's a person I can go to trust? When
you do the searches, did you say, and give me the source?
When I was having it generate images,
does it allow you to do that?
No. But I have tried that on some recently just to see what it would do.
Well, I mean, now there's just whole, I think, college classes now. I mean, just on AI and how to ask it, and online courses I know I've seen about how to do that. So,
there's a course on Photoshop. There might as well be a course on ChatGPT.
And I think it's very important.
Oh, absolutely.
I just reported this week the ChatGPT 5 is coming out.
Yes.
And supposedly it's going to make a better try at sourcing truthful.
Well, 4 was better than 3.5, so hopefully as we continue on, it will get a little better.
Wow.
But,
scary when you have so many people out there that obviously want to, we'll just call it disinformation. So, I mean, you can put it out there purposefully to totally change the way people across the world think about anything.
Right, or even like in my story from the beginning with summer book list.
Yeah.
I would have done that, not trying to be malicious, but just, this saved me some time. Let me put it out there. These books sound good.
That's
They're no misspellings. Great, I'm done.
Take advantage of efficiency and people with deadlines, and plus they want to hurry up and get done.
Yes.
And not verifying. So that's why this is a very important blog that not only with people, but especially with AI information that you're given, you've got to basically not trust and verify.
You have to definitely go back.
Just assume it's all wrong and then somehow, cross-reference and find the right answer.
Right.
Well, I appreciate that, Caroline. This is very, very needed. And enjoy the rest of your Olympics. We've got a couple of weeks left, right?
Yes, a couple of weeks left.
I expect a few more things coming from you.
I'll try to do a few little ones, but I don't want to burn everybody out.
Check the blogs. If we don't talk about it, it might be on the blogs. Some more information about the Olympics. So, all right. Have a good weekend, and I will talk to you next week.
All right. See you next week.
All right. Bye.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy. You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year. At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with a link.
Okay.
Smart.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Time for this week's winner and loser in the market. The loser is QXO, and that is their ticker, QXO. They are headquartered in New Jersey, and they're a business application technology and consulting company. This company took on a lot of small investors once news came out of President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner's firm, which put in $150 million. Kushner was also tapped to be on the board. A filing Monday increased the shares from $400 million to $650 million and may get as high as almost $900 million thanks to the warrants. This filing caused the stock to move from a high of $160 last Wednesday to a low of $10.25 Monday. Somebody took some serious profit as the buy-in was $9.75. And the winner is Cassava Sciences, SAVA is the ticker. They're headquartered in Texas, and they develop novel drugs and diagnostics. They focus on developing product candidates intended for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. They saw its stock price surge Wednesday following a major announcement regarding its Alzheimer's treatment. Sava's price was just at a 52-week low at $8.41 on July 17th, and yesterday reached as high as $28.60. You gotta love the high-risk, high-reward of biotech, or not, depending on which way it goes. 52-week high is $32.10, 52-week low is $8.41. Visit arbitragetrade.com and learn about Pips, our AI bot, who lets you stop watching and start living. We are not financial advisors. We provide an AI bot algorithm service. Thank you for joining us today for another edition of Arbitrage Weekend News. Log into arbitragetrade.com to read our wide variety of blogs and educate yourself on Trade Assist and Forex trading, or even how to make passive money with our Trade Assist affiliate marketer program. You can even get to know our cute little AI bot called Pips. Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC is a privately held research company. Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC is solely responsible for the preparation and distribution of the contents of this podcast. The opinions offered in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to function as investment advice. Seek a duly licensed professional for investment advice. For more information about the informational research and services offered by Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC, please visit arbitragetrade.com.